Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my channel, The Healthy Voice. I'm so happy to be speaking with you today. I was trying to think about what I wanted to talk about this week, and something came up that I would like to share with you. In my community, somebody mentioned a pretty harsh music teacher from her past, and it wasn't the first time I heard somebody share with me a story of a insensitive music teacher in the past. Because let me put it this way. I've been a teacher for over 2 decades, and I've learned a thing or two about the dynamics between teacher and student. I have made many mistakes in my life as a teacher. I have learned from every single one of them. And each passing year, or I should really say each day, has been an opportunity for me to learn something new about the art of teaching. Here's the thing about teaching that most people don't know unless they have been teachers themselves. The school of education is, pardon my French, but it's rubbish. It's a waste of time, in my opinion. The only thing that actually teaches you how to be a teacher is teaching. You are not actually going to learn how to be a teacher until you get thrown into the deep end and you start working with students. Up until that point, it's just talk, it's just lip service. Nobody is actually telling you how to teach because it's something that you have to learn as you go. And I've learned a lot over the years. And throughout my life as a teacher, I've often looked back on memories where I felt like I had this one teacher who I felt like I could never make her happy. And the thing is that I actually cared very much what she thought about me. But I could tell from pretty early on, and she was a prominent teacher in my life for 4 years. And I could tell early on that she didn't really like me. There was something about me that annoyed her. And I'm not making it up. It was in the facial expressions. It was in her lack of interest in helping me. And of course, being a student at the time, I didn't know what a teacher was supposed to be. I had had many good teachers before that who reached out to me and who behaved in a way that I would now describe as being a good teacher. But because this person had a lot of power in the situation I was in as a music student, I trusted that she knew what she was doing and that she was behaving in the way that she thought appropriate to prepare me for a future career in music. And it bothered me that I couldn't seem to make her like me because I desperately wanted guidance on how to become a great singer, and there were many things I was lacking. In fact, I recently watched a video of a musical that I had been in when I was a senior in high school. I had the lead role, which was at my high school, that was a very big deal. It was extremely competitive. Many of my classmates went on to Broadway and other very high level professional music careers. And so it was very competitive while we were there. And so for me to get a spot at the top like that was a big deal. But I remember I was looking at this footage and I was hearing myself and I was thinking, I was watching myself from the perspective of a teacher and I saw a lot of potential. Yes, this is a person with a lot of potential to go far, but a weakness is pitch. I certainly had a lot of pitch problems. And I was reflecting on how my teacher used to handle this. Because in hindsight, I can now look back and I can now critique my teacher because I myself have, like I said, 2 decades, over 2 decades of experience teaching, where I'm willing to admit the mistakes I've made. I'm willing to learn from them. And the mistake I can recall is that every time we would be rehearsing together, she would get so visibly annoyed with me when I would make a bad pitch. Instead of helping me, which I'm sure she tried in her own way to help me, but it was not helpful. There was something about her instruction that I was not understanding, and she was not able to speak to me in a way that made sense. And so instead of admitting, which is now what I would do, if I were in this situation, and I have been in this situation before where I really don't know what to do to help a student, and I will openly admit it. I will try several different tactics to get them to understand whatever technique it is that they need to grasp. And if I try 3 times and it's still not working, I will just openly admit something's not working here. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I really want to help you, but I don't know what to do. And instead of doing that, she would sigh and she would have this annoyed look on her face and she would get mad at me. I could feel that she was angry that I wasn't getting it. And I felt bad about that. I felt really bad about it and frustrated because I also wanted to do a good job. And I didn't feel like anybody was speaking to me in a language that I could understand. And so I want to share this information with you because throughout the years, I've worked with a lot of adults, and these adults have shared things with me that their teachers, and not just voice teachers, but piano teachers, I've heard this from people who took piano lessons and voice lessons, that when they were growing up, their teachers would tell them things like they just didn't have it. They didn't have what it would take. They should just move on and do something else. And every time I hear this, I think, God, that is so unfortunate, because here's my opinion. This is just my take. There may be a music teacher watching this who has done these things and who is feeling a little defensive right now, and they may want to contradict me, but I'm telling you, this is just my opinion. What's happening is the teacher doesn't know what to do. The teacher doesn't know how to teach the student what the student needs to know. Instead of being humble enough to admit it, they want to project the blame onto the student. So if the student walks away feeling like he's just not talented enough, then the teacher is off the hook and can go on with this facade like they know everything and they're this amazing expert. The truth is this: you never stop learning. And the longer that I live and the more I learn about music, the more I realize that there is so much I do not know. There is so much. Throughout the last 30 plus years of my life, I have acquired so much knowledge. And when I teach group classes or I teach individual classes, I am constantly being complimented by about how much knowledge I have and how good I am at sharing it with people. But what people don't understand is that the longer you study something, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. And I'm totally at peace understanding that I will never learn everything there is to know about music or the voice. And I actually find that very comforting, because if I were to declare myself an expert and believe it to be so, then I would be so bored starting tomorrow. I would be so bored for the rest of my life. I would see no point in continuing to do this work, because why would I? It is so boring to know everything. It is so boring to think you know everything, and that if a student comes into your realm and you don't know how to teach them, that, well, they're the problem. It's just because they are dysfunctional or they're not talented enough. It has nothing to do with me and my capabilities. That's ridiculous. When a student comes to me and I don't know how to help them, that's my cue to expand my horizons when it comes to my knowledge base. That is my cue to go and do some learning on my own, because I want to be able to help the next student who has that issue. So why am I sharing this with you? When I saw that video of myself singing, and I saw a student who deserved the scholarships she got that year, because scholarships are based on potential. They are an investment in a young person, because the institution giving you the money believes that you will be great one day. Not that you are, not that you're already there, but that you have the potential to become incredible. I was not there yet. I was far from it. I had a lot of potential, but my pitch was clearly not as good as it could have been. And I'm happy to say that throughout the years I've learned a lot about pitch and I've gotten a lot better, but it's still something I have to work on all the time, and I'm okay admitting that. I'm okay relating that to my students. But I share this with you because some of you who have reached out to me, who are taking the voice liberation method course, or who are in my community, or are doing one-on-one sessions with me, you've shared with me that there were people in your life who put you down and who told you that you didn't have a good voice, that you couldn't sing. I mean, think of that language for a moment. If somebody says you can't sing, we know what they're trying to say. They're trying to say you don't have enough talent to be good at it. But the literal sound of those words is basically you don't have permission to sing. I think this is unbelievably cruel. I think it's wrong for a teacher to get visibly frustrated and blame you for not being able to get something like your pitch or your timing. I think this is wrong. And so I'm telling you, I'm just giving you this information as a veteran of music education. I want you to hear it from a music teacher, lots of experience. If somebody said that to you, and especially if that somebody was your teacher, I want you to know that it wasn't okay for them to do that. Teachers are human beings. We all have bad days and we all slip up. We sometimes use words that are not productive, that could have been better. And so it's a waste of energy to carry a grudge against your teacher. But what you can do with this information is just forgive them and move on and trust that they were not necessarily experts and that your desire to sing or use your voice in any way is much more powerful than any perceived power that any teacher could have had over you. So I hope this helps you. If you are if you have decided that it's time to reclaim your voice and you desire to feel that freedom when you sing or when you speak, then consider taking my voice liberation method course. It's 7 weeks of vocal technique, both singing and speech. There are lots of tension release exercises, lots of information on how trauma gets stuck in the muscles and creates chronic tension patterns, making it very difficult to speak or sing with ease. There are also 7 guided visualizations meant to help rewire your nervous system patterning so that you can start to feel more confident when you speak or when you sing. It's my desire for you that you reclaim that joy that you once had for singing or for speaking. This is a gift that we are born with. This voice that we have, this voice is our soul made manifest through sound. It's a special thing. To have shame or embarrassment around our voice is an awful thing to live with. And I want you to recover from that pattern. I want you to feel comfortable and confident using your voice in all circumstances. So, how about a journal prompt for today? Was there ever a teacher in your life who told you that you didn't have what it takes? How did it make you feel? And did you actually believe them? Did you believe them 100%? If you did, how did it stop you from making progress? Or was there a part of you that doubted what they were saying? And how did that influence the rest of your life? If you feel inspired, leave some comments down below. It always is nice to see what other people have to say. One of the blessings of this whole platform has been seeing that those of us who have experienced these things in our voice journeys, we're not alone. And so every time you share in the comments, it brings comfort to somebody. So thank you for being here. Don't forget to keep working on your voice, keep practicing, focus on the feelings, and remember, the world needs your unique voice. I'll see you in the next video.